Welcome to the Badger Beer Report, Brewery Report for February 17th, 2026. This evening, we will have updates on one of the biggest collabs that we will have this year. It's brought to you by Badger Beer Report. We'll have updates on that. We will have updates on the opening of Boulder Junction. We have some sales to talk about. We have a closing to talk about. We have some builds to talk about. And there's no better person for me to do all this with is my friend and colleague, Badger Beer Report Director of Brewing Relations and Research. That would be Joel Geyer. Good evening, Joel.
Good evening, Greg. How are you doing this fine evening?
I'm doing great. And without further ado, we'll get to our closing.
Yeah, so as is kind of tradition here, we're going to go ahead and get the ball rolling with the bad news first, get that out of the way. So Two Doors Down in Wisconsin Rapids, they are calling it a career. So they first opened up in May of 2022. They've been part of B's Tap House. You can actually see that if you're zooming in on that Facebook post, it is done. It used to say Two Doors Down, but they rebranded the page again as B's Tap House because B's Tap House is still in existence. That is something that we want to make sure that we are clarifying. That is still going to be there. So folks can still go and visit. The Two Doors Down beers will no longer be being brewed. So, you know, if I forget to say, yes, effective end of the month. So if you are local to Wisconsin Rapids and you have enjoyed the Two Doors Down beer, you have a couple weeks here to go and try, to snag a couple last pints of those local beers before it finishes its full transition into B's Tap House.
All right. And we have another closing, but not a brew or
it's a closing that's part of a brewery, but it's not the brewery itself that is closing. So the Skeleton Crew Brew, which is out in Onalaska, which for those that are unfamiliar is located in near La Crosse. They have announced that they are shutting down their homebrew supply shop. So this brewery and their partner, Lost Island Wine, they are staying open. So that is still, going to be there. This shop first opened up alongside the brewery back in 2016. So it's now been almost a decade that it has been in business. A lot of brewers were able to, obviously get ingredients, equipment there. But unfortunately that is, no longer going to be the case. However, obviously silver lining is that this is not a closure of the brewery itself. And so the beer is still going to be produced and served there in Onalaska.
Yeah. It's sad to see, the home brew area kind of go through the same struggles as we see the breweries go through. And part of another struggle we have is we have a brewery on sale, and it's a pretty big, or I don't know if it's a big one, but it's a unique one. How about that?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we have
Steel Tank Brewery out in Economilwaukee here, just a little ways west of Milwaukee. For those that remember, back in last August, we covered when they announced on their Facebook page that they would be temporarily closing for a full-scale rebrand. And then it was basically radio silence for the rest of 2025. I sent a couple follow-up messages to try to see if there was any, hints at reopening, what it was all going to entail. But here just a couple days ago, there was an article that says that Steel Tank Brewing is actually up for sale now. So it has hit the market there in Economilwaukee. This is a brewery that initially was launched back in 2016. They are actually also have, they brought in this drummer, Mike Wengren, who's a drummer of a heavy metal band, Disturbed. He joined as a partner, and together they actually opened Rally Point, a state-of-the-art music venue that's actually inside the brewery. So it became very much a premier destination for live music performances. So this is more than your run-of-the-mill, small-scale brewery tap room that you're purchasing. It's a 14,000 square foot facility that, this veteran-owned business is now looking to pass on to someone else in the community. They're hoping that they keep it alive as, this brewery, tap room, high-tech concert hall, etc. So we'll be kind of keeping a close eye on any reports that come through about, any changes in ownership, any changes in branding, etc., etc. We will be, as soon as we know, we will be passing along the word to everyone else. Oh, you're muted, Greg. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a state-of-the-art concert hall there. So you would think that somebody would it would be interested to somebody to see what's going on there. So what's going on here though is an update on Boulder Junction.
Yes. Yes. Go on. No, I was going to say, I just wanted to say that this is one that we've covered for so long, Greg, and that we're just so happy to be able to cover this grand opening. And so you've had some great conversations with them. So from your point of view, how did this opening go?
The tap room has been the place to be, with Ian reporting elbow to elbow crowds Friday through Sunday the past 2 weeks. Even the weekdays are seeing a steady stream of fans coming in to check out the building, the new merch, and of course the beer. The team has been busy. They're finally taking their first day off tomorrow, but it's not for a break. They'll be spending the day brewing to keep the tanks full and to stay ahead of the high demand. That is a direct quote from Ian Brown, who is co-owner. But the biggest news, he says, is not about the biggest news, I would say, it's not about the beer. It's about leadership. Tracy Brown, the driving force behind the brewery and the beers, has been named the chapter leader for the Pink Boots Society this week. This is a major appointment. The Pink Boots Society is a global organization dedicated to supporting and educating women and non-binary individuals in the brewing industry. Ian says seeing Tracy take the helm for the entire state is an incredible milestone for their team and a testament to her dedication to the craft. He goes on to say that, I'm going to go on to say that from a packed house in Boulder Junction, leading a statewide movement on beer for women in beer, it's clear that Boulder Junction's impact on us has just begun. So we wish them the best, and we're going to move along to another build. Yes. Not a build anymore, to a build, an exciting build here.
Yeah, well, and this is your neck of the woods here, Greg, that we've been updating, but a lot of the updates that we've been getting on these have been you driving by yourself in the frigid cold to take pictures and, maybe reaching out, getting a couple comments here and there. But Youngblood finally posted some of their own updates in DeForest, and that meant that they included some photos of the interior, which is something that we have not had up until this point. And so it's really cool to be able to see this, some of the interior work coming along. But what are kind of your thoughts on all of it here?
I don't really have much to add besides this looks great, and we will have updates soon. There's nothing more besides those pictures, which is nice. I drive by it multiple times a week. So yeah, y'all will see it more. No worries on that. And I have to segue to one that is just a huge build that's been going on for years, and we really don't have any updates besides you took a drive past it.
Yeah. So Foxtown Brewing, which I forget how long ago it was that we last discussed this location in downtown Milwaukee. Last time that we covered it, we were talking about, there was an article about the difficulties that they were having with this location. For those that are unaware, this is right downtown, 3rd Ward on the Milwaukee River. It's basically sandwiched between the river, the freeway, and an on-ramp, and that there was issues with the water table. So for a long time, this was basically just left empty. and there was no movement at all. And finally, as of late, there has been some progress, and there is now actual building being done, and you can visually see that progress anytime that you are now driving through downtown Milwaukee, which is really exciting to see. I drove down there a week or so ago and wasn't able to stop. And so this morning I went down there because I knew that we were obviously doing the show tonight and I wanted to have an update. And I was able to, find parking easy enough and walked around and got some photos of the construction site, kind of showing the progress, as well as you can see on the largest photo there, how it is located right on the river. Obviously the river is frozen right now. But this is truly going to be just a state-of-the-art location. So this is going to be a 28,000 square foot, 3-story complex. It's going to obviously be home to Foxtown Brewery as well as a distillery and a restaurant. They're going to be very pet friendly. These folks, are big on the, on the dog food. That's where their, original businesses are from. There is an adjacent dog park that is underneath the freeway for those that are bringing their pups along. So yes, it's really cool to see that this project is finally in full swing. I'm excited to continue to provide updates because, again, this one is close enough to me that, it's not like you where it's necessarily something that I'm driving by every day, but it's convenient enough that it will be easy for me to get these updates rather quickly whenever we need them. And yeah, they're going to have boat docks, Greg. They're going to have, like I said, it's going to be a multi-story spot here on the river. It's going to be phenomenal. I'm very excited to follow this one further.
When you were down there, was like the construction pieces actually moving?
Yeah, there were folks there. They stopped traffic at one point for a dump truck of some kind, which I think that was one of the larger issues besides the water table, is that because this smallish, small relatively, plot of land is essentially wedged between, on one side you have the river, one side you have the freeway overhang, and one side you have an on-ramp. Like there really, or an off-ramp, there really isn't space to bring in all this, big industrial equipment that is necessary to make a building like this. And so I think the logistics behind it were very difficult, and that's what caused these significant delays in time. So it's great to see that obviously they have been able to somewhat sort that out and get it off the ground, so it seems.
Yeah, and another brewery is getting some more construction off the ground down in the southern part of the state, and this is great for them, but it's also great for the beer, Joel.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so G5 Brewing down there in Beloit, this one kind of came out of nowhere, and they have all of a sudden they opened up a whole separate Instagram account for what they are calling the Barrel House, and this is going to be a whole new structure that is on the same grounds as the current brew pub taproom space is there on kind of the southern part of the city. So this Barrel House is kind of this new project that they're taking on because they're looking for essentially an event space type of venue. And a lot of it they've been posting consistently. They've been posting lots of renderings. They've been posting lots of building updates. In terms of a brewery posting, when it comes to a construction project, this has been by far, I would say, the brewery that has posted the most updates. They have been cranking them out with the construction updates. So this project is hopefully what the way they are framing it is kind of this industrial meets rustic. Again, they're hoping to host a lot of different types of weddings. Some of the renderings even show like places that like wedding parties would be getting prepared and, and hanging out and whatnot. So this is obviously a project they're hoping to bring in a whole new set of clientele there in Beloit. And as the only brewery now in Beloit, they have an opportunity here, I feel, to, really up their game and take a strong foothold there in the community. So, it's also supposed to be, home to their growing barrel aging program. As you can see in some of the renderings, they're going to have barrels. So, that's going to not only be part of the storage, but I'm sure part of the ambiance. So yeah, I'm excited to see how this project comes through. This is one that it's moving quickly. I don't know what you feel about it, but based off of when they announced it and how quickly some of these posts, because you can go through this if you follow this Instagram, it's the Barrel House _ATG or at G5 Brewing. You can go back and see when they first started posting these builds, and they are moving along, Greg.
Yeah, I think this is one of the cases where they knew what they were doing for a while and they waited to tell us until it started, and now now it feels like it just happened really, really fast.
Guns
This
blazing.
feels like this was a couple years in the making, but they got a big spacious campus down there, I hear, and I'm really excited because I like, whenever I've interacted with their beer, I've had it.
Yeah.
And I like to see them going into this barrel space in a serious manner. So I think that's what we can expect out of that, is really more G5, barrel aged, wonderful beers, hopefully, because that's what they're known for. At least I know. And we're going to shift to a brewery that is not really known at all, but we're really nosy about them, Joel.
Yeah. Well, this is one that I'm really excited about. I've been familiar with the folks there at Nosy Neighbor. So again, this all starts with New Baron's shift, as we have covered, into being a brewery incubator. We had John DeGroot on. He talked about all of kind of the changes that they have been going through in preparation for this. How things are, kind of progressing. And we finally have seen some more movement with some additional postings from Tyler and Charisse that we, are seeing that they're getting closer. So Nosy Neighbor is, again, the first brewery that is stepping into this incubator role at New Barons. So they have been homebrewing for a long time. They have had their beers at numerous festivals. And this is kind of their first step into producing it on this scale, where they are able to, brew on this professional system, have it served at the tap room, and all of that. So the most recent updates here, as you can see, is that they've actually started getting the brewing process going. So it says in the post that they've brewed up something that is bound to be tasting really nice in March. So that all signs means that we are within weeks away at this point of Nosy Neighbor releasing at least one beer at the New Barons tap room. So we will be sure to have that on our social media pages when that does come to pass, if we have not already seen you again for a brewery report. But I hope to get down there, if not for a release, as soon as I can, to support them. Because again, even if I didn't know, Tyler and, at the folks at Nosy Neighbor, this is a really cool, kind of project and transition for New Barons that I'm excited to kind of see how it goes. And the Nosy Neighbor is the guinea pig, the first step in this direction.
Absolutely. And, you said it all for that one. I would say that our next guinea pig is a good word to use for our next segue, because this brewery was our first collab guinea pig.
Yeah.
Sorry, Joe. Yeah. That would be Gathering Place Brewing, and this one hits kind of personal, right?
Yeah. So I don't know if we covered it in the last brewery report. I don't think we did. I know we have shared posts on social media. But Gathering Place has found their new brewer. And this was one that, obviously with us working with them last year, that we were following very closely as we look, towards, the potential of Dosh beer again. But this leadership change has finally been announced. They posted about here recently that Gathering Place is thrilled to announce that they hired Dane Mariani as their new head brewer. He most recently served as the head brewer and operations manager for Good City Brewing. So this is obviously someone that people, in the craft beer community here locally are familiar with. If you are here in Milwaukee and drink craft beer, you are probably familiar with Good City's beers, even though Good City, obviously was purchased by Explorium. For many years, Good City was one of the more prevalent names here in the community. So he played a key role there, and he is now, coming over to Gathering Place to bring his experiences with. We are looking forward to seeing what, he does, taking over for Matt, who is moving on after he had that successful run with the brewery there. Mm-hmm. So we are, again, like I said, we had a personal stake in this because we obviously brewed Dosh beer last year, very successfully, I might add, for Lager and Friends Festival. And we are, in the process of
scheduled to do it again.
Doing it again. That was something that we talked about with Joe at the time. It was something that we, have continued to discuss, and I think we're coming up here soon about discussing again. Obviously, this change in leadership with the brewery kind of, we with ducks had to get into a row before, we move forward with anything. But we are excited about this change for them and glad that they have settled, with someone that has local experience. And do you have anything to add with here with the changes at Gathering Place?
Nope. I'm just looking forward to working with Joe and the new brewer and Gathering Place again for Lager and Friends. It's probably going to be the last week of May again, y'all. We'll be there. All of us will be there again.
Promoting that.
We'll be there too. It's just going to be fun, and we're looking forward to working with Gathering Place and the crew, and it's just great. And he has big shoes to fill, but he can fill them given his experience. So there's nothing really more to see here than hopefully a good transition for Joe and the crew at Gathering Place.
I should also comment, besides Good City, he also before that worked with Sprecher at their Walker's Point location. So he has multiple points of experience here in the Milwaukee area.
Yep. And another person who has multiple points of expertise or multiple points of interest is our friend David Lamb at Quiet Worlds Brewing Company.
Yeah, so Quiet World is gearing up to hit the road with a versatile new food truck. And this is part of their plan to kind of promote the food side of the business. So Dave shared that the truck is going to feature smash burgers, a variety of fried and grilled chicken sandwiches, a lot of different classic sides, cheese curds, fries, mac and cheese bites, onion rings, etc. The menu is going to emphasize local ingredients, using local beef and cheese. It's going to have flexibility with gluten-free buns, pretzel buns, being able to swap any sandwich for a wrap or a salad. While official launch date is pending final inspections following Dave's return from travel, the goal is to have it operational by the end of the month. So fans can find weekly location schedules on Facebook every Sunday night. And for any booking inquiries, please contact the team at quietworldbrewing@gmail.com or via Facebook Messenger. And so, we talked a lot about this when we covered the announcement, is that this is a really unique and cool way to start promoting this brand, because they have a big, long build out in front of them that's going to take a lot of time and a lot of effort. And so being able to get this ball rolling is a really neat way to kind of already get their fingerprints on the community right from the get-go.
Amen to that. And you had your fingerprints in the community at Fond du Lac.
Yeah, you're killing it with the going between them tonight, Greg.
That's kind of what I do. But
yeah, so here earlier this month, I went up to Fond du Lac for the Fondy Brewfest at the Fond du Lac Fairgrounds in the Expo Center. So this is one of the more unique beer festivals here in Wisconsin, because not only does it host an array of craft breweries from around the state, but it also is home to Homebrewers Alley. And so the entire section, the main section of this event is 2 full rows of, I think there was close to around 24 different homebrew groups and homebrewers that, because really I don't even know if they would have a full count on individual homebrewers, because in all of these groups, if they have 6 beers, a lot of times there's 4 or 5 or even 6 different home brewers that are contributing on all these recipes. So you were able to go in there and try beers in a very different manner than what you typically would when you're going up to a brewery that you may be familiar with. And if you're not familiar with, you kind of learn, it's a professional organization. And here you're drinking the beer and chatting with people who are doing it for the love of the game. So it was a really fun and unique experience to get to do that. And there were some banger home brews. There was of course, where was it from? There was a peanut butter one that was phenomenal. There was a really good IPA from my folks over from the Sheboygan Sudsers. And I also got to meet up with a lot of our, I guess I could say, current friends and new friends that we are in the process of making from around the state. Fond du Lac Beer Company is one that actually helped sponsor. That was presented by Fondy Brewfest Beer Company. So Lyle was there running around. I got to chat with him for a while. Saw Kyle from Brewed Omen, Trevor from Inventors, and also got to meet up with a couple, newer folks, Josh from Good Works that I had not gotten to meet with since I visited his tap room a few years ago. I talked with Dan from Shattered Glass. The next slide I know is in the Keep an Eye On. And I got to kind of check in with him, and they are chomping at the bit. He said pretty much once the ground, is not frozen anymore, they are going to be breaking ground on their space in Beaver Dam. I checked in with Tad for Dairy-Aire, still looking at
Dairy-Aire
for a spring opening. We have extensively, kind of covered their progress there in Seymour. So it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to go up there, chat with folks, that we have relationships with, as well as establish new ones. And try some good beer while we're at it. Fifth Ward, I didn't have a picture, but Fifth Ward was there also, had some amazing beer from them. And yeah, I mean, Fond du Lac's Kolsch, the new Kolsch from Fond du Lac that Lyle made is really, really good. That was one of the other big highlights, I would say, from my time there.
That's great. I got to get up to Fond du Lac for that. Who else are we looking into here, Joe? Keeping an eye out. I mean, there's a lot, but some highlights here.
Yeah, I mean, I have personally checked in with Clockwork and Acronym. They are both getting closer to being able to share more details as they kind of work through the paperwork side of the equation with their respective city/townships of Menominee Falls for Clockwork and Fox Point for Acronym. Solemn Oath, we're going to be reaching out to again here shortly. I did reach out and hopefully to hear back from them soon in regards to, their progress here in Milwaukee. Same with Radix that, hopefully they are moving along here. We're going to check with them soon. And Lost Apostle, Greg, we're kind of just waiting and seeing. They could be coming down the pipe any day now, it feels like.
Badger.
Yep.
Badger.
Yep, 100%. Do you have any inklings on any of the other ones? I know Gravity Box is kind of over that way, but some of the other ones are still pretty far out. It would seem like the near and far and the Nicolay are still a works in progress.
Yeah, all I got is Badger. Let's go. I'm excited about Lost Apostle. I can't get past anything else on there, but we will get past it and get to our anniversaries.
Yeah, so as we've been doing now for a while, we like to celebrate anniversaries. And as you can see, there are only 6 anniversaries. It should not be a huge surprise. February is not the most popular month to open up a brewery. In fact, at least in the state of Wisconsin, it is by far the least popular month to open up a brewery. Of all the anniversaries that we have tracked, February is by far the month with the fewest. But there are 6. One being the OG of the group, Pearl Street, which is from 1999. So they have been around easily the longest now, well over 2.5 decades. Everybody else has been kind of part of the new wave, less than a decade old. Noble Roots from 2017. Our friends over at Delta Beer Lab in Madison, 2018. And then, Gravity Box, who we just discussed, is now looking to open up their second location in the Dells. They opened up in February of 21, Cocoon in 23, Half Fast in 24. So a lot more of the more newbies here in February. But, February is both the shortest month and arguably kind of the dreariest weather month in a lot of ways. So shouldn't be a huge shock that this month is very unpopular for opening up breweries, Greg.
Yeah, and I think we're going to have, or maybe not. So real quick, I don't think any of these breweries meant to open up in February.
Very possible.
Believe.
Yeah.
I just find that very hard to believe. These things kind of drag these openings. And we're getting to the end here of this month. And I don't know, I'm rooting for Apostle, as we said, y'all.
Mhm.
Badger, that's the name of the owner. For those who didn't get that reference, his name is Badger. His first name is Badger, and I met him at the Build about 2 months ago. But I think they might slide in here. But either way, yeah, I don't think any of these folks were trying to open, but it's great that they're all open. And happy birthday, y'all. Happy birthday.
Yeah,
And,
well, the one that jumps out to me in that regard, Gravity Box was 21. So that would have been, 2020 was obviously the year of COVID. And so opening up at very beginning of 21 is probably one of those things where it was like everything that could go wrong went wrong for them trying to open up. So,
right.
Getting across the finish line was difficult.
And another segue, what didn't go wrong was your visit to the baseball brewery.
Yes. And so
call it.
as we have talked about, didn't mean to do that there. As we have talked about here kind of extensively, I just want to have it be big. There we go. I've been trying to highlight some of my visits to breweries here around Wisconsin, and obviously quite a few of them here around Milwaukee, where I call home. And I was able to stop by Broken Bat. I have known Tim since they opened up. I think I was at Broken Bat. It was one of the very first days that they opened up. It was probably the second or third day that they opened up that I was at Broken Bat when they originally opened up in the basement of their location in the Third Ward. They now obviously have a much larger spot there in Walker's Point that is, has an indoor wiffle ball field that's a lot of fun. So enjoyed checking in with Tim. You'll be able to see a lot more content coming down the pipe later this year with him. Excited about covering that. I tried the new beer that they had on tap that I tried when I was there was their Rosh beer, and it was delicious. I'm a sucker for a good smoked beer, and that was certainly one of them.
Yeah, and we don't have any. Greg was lax on the production, y'all, but I did visit Fifth Ward, Bare Bones, Knuth Brewing, and Fox River, and collectively all of them were pleasant to visit and really good beers and nice spaces and all that. So it was a good trip. I hope to be hitting Janesville, Milton, Good Works, G5 coming up here the next month. So look for that, y'all. And also, Joel, folks need to look for this.
Yeah. So we obviously announced it last time you saw us, and we are now inching closer. We're just over a week away from the brew day of our class of 2025 Badger Beer Report collaboration brew. And we are just over the moon excited. We are just over the moon excited to get to Appleton, get back to Vault 202, and meet up with all the amazing folks that, were able to brew their first beer in 2025. Yep, you got Last Ditch is going to be there, St. Francis, Mobcraft, Boulder Junction, Fond du Lac, Tailwinds, obviously Vault 202, Brewed Omen. So we're going to have so many
Lombardi, Mobcraft.
Yep. We're going to have so many friends there. It's going to be a lot of fun. And more recently news is that we talked about the style. I think we said the style last time when we announced it, that it was going to be because we said New Kids on the Maibach, it was going to be a Maibach, but we have since learned some more details, and we are actually going to have hops here from Wisconsin, freshly pelletized Wisconsin Mount Hood hops, and the yeast is also going to be the Cream City Lager strain that is here local from the yeast base. So we're really bringing in hard with the fact that this is a Wisconsin brewed beer for Wisconsin breweries, for Wisconsin beer lovers. And it's going to be a lot of fun. Once after the brew, we'll obviously have a ton of content to share with you guys. We'll I believe we said it's going to be that first weekend in May that we'll have release parties at all these breweries, and we will have a lot more details, obviously, once things start to kind of get a little bit closer to that date, at least.
Yeah, and if you want to meet any of us, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be at all of the breweries besides Boulder Junction. I don't know if I can make it up there.
Yeah.
But from Vault on to the Milwaukee area, we will be there that weekend. You know, talking about this class and you know, the overall greatness of the beer and the community that these breweries are bringing. We are just proud that they are gracing us with their presence to do this collab beer. They are all really, really fantastic in their own way, and they're just bringing so much community to the places that either replacing or we have we have four, right? Four reboots, three reboots, three.
Well, we have four
Lombardi.
Bull Falls.
I count Lombardi.
Yeah, because Lombardi is in the old city white space, but yes.
Yeah, so Bull Falls is not a part of the collaboration, but we wish them well. But they're one of our reboots. But we have Lombardi replacing Cool City, and then we have the Mobcraft and the St. Francis. So Last Ditch replacing our Noggin. And Last Ditch, right? So we've had some, turnover. We've had some, completely new builds: Boulder Junction, Tailwinds, Vault. So it's just a really wonderful mixed bag, and we're really looking forward to next Thursday, y'all. And then in 2 months after that, we will get the prize, which will be the beer. So excitement around here, Badger Beer Report, and excitement around Wisconsin too. So on that note, Joel, we're going to move to something else that we have been working on, and we are very happy to show y'all.
Yeah. So this isn't something new per se in terms of the content, but it is new in terms of we were able to bring on, some help with our graphic design, because while Greg and I can dabble in it, we are certainly not professionals. And so our maps this year now, covering all the closings, openings, and builds, are now going to look much nicer for folks that, are trying to follow along, and when they're posting them on social media. And so you can see here, first up is closings. We now have the 2 closings, Tack and 2 Doors Down, here in the state of Wisconsin so far. So just the 2. Next, we have the openings, which we still just have the 1, Boulder Junction. But as we have discussed, at some point here, I think as we get more into the spring, the dam's going to break, and we're going to have, I think, quite a few come through the gate, both full new breweries like Lost Apostle and Dairy-Aire, but also, some of the secondary locations, a place like Gravity Box that we'll see pop up. So looking forward to that. And speaking of some of those, here is our upcoming map. You can see all of those breweries that we have been following and talking about and keeping an eye on, as we say, really covering a pretty nice size swath of the state. There's some good representation all over the place. Obviously, quite a few here in the Milwaukee area that we have. They're going to be new that I am very excited about. But yeah, a lot of parts of the states are currently, have something to look forward to. Even out there west, friends over in Deuce City, looking forward to that there in Prairie du Chien.
And the reboot of
Agonic, yes. So we will be following along with that as well, with their reboot following that fire.
Shout out to Agonic. I'm never going to get it right, but it's no disrespect, and I wish y'all the best, because obviously how we got here was not ideal. They had a fire, y'all. Yep. So they're rebuilding after their fire, and we are again rooting for them from afar. And Joel, we're also, I don't know, rooting is the word, but here we are with our numbers. They're a little tweaked, aren't they? Or no?
Yeah, I think there was one tweak, and that was actually because we had a miscount. We were missing one from our list before that our friend Bill was able to, add to. So
who was that, Joel? Shout him out. Do we know?
No, it was the Was it Knowlton House?
Knowlton House, which is mostly a distillery and a cheese joint, right?
Yeah, so it's listed, and part of the reason that we didn't realize it was that when you search it, it comes up as Knowlton House Distillery. It's in Mossany, Wisconsin. And it is also, a cheese making place, but they also brew a handful of their own beers. And so Bill went and visited and was able to share that with us. And otherwise, it's been a wash kind of with the growth. So yeah, so this is where our current numbers stand: 209 overall breweries, 39 additional taproom and locations, 20 that fall into that funky other category. And so a grand total of 268 here in the state of Wisconsin. So yeah, and we'll follow that up here. Patreon, we've had a lot going on here with collab and other things. So we haven't officially scheduled it. I know at one point we were hoping to do a kind of grand announcement for it here at the end of the month, and that still may be coming. Cautiously, I just want to say that things would probably all go live in March at this point. But yeah, so that's just kind of the update with that. I know I talked with some folks actually at Fond du Lac that are very excited about it, at the Fond du Lac Beer Festival, I should say, that are excited we'll be providing. So that will be coming soon still. I pinky promise, folks.
Yeah, and we just want to make sure that everything is great and everything's we can get that pop that y'all want, and we can be ready to give y'all all the content that we're looking forward to do. Joel's been working hard at this. You can see his labor of work. I mean, we all have, but Joel's really put in a big effort with the Patreon. And also Joel puts in a little bit of an effort with signing us off.
Yes. And again, before I finish that off, though, I would say, besides Patreon, make sure that you're following us on all the social accounts. If you're not following us on Facebook already, do that. We share a lot. Instagram and Spotify. Yep, Spotify. You can find this show as well as all of our podcasts. I have a lot of podcasts coming up soon that I have been waiting to schedule until we finish up the Patreon stuff. But I have a lot of good podcasts that will be coming down the pipeline. And yeah, on Instagram, we're constantly sharing stuff on Instagram stories. So Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're not already. And as always, whether it is where you are visiting or where you are living, be sure to drink local everywhere. Cheers, everybody.